So I hope you have some space to stand. If not, we'll do the best we can sitting down. But for those who can stand, you'll get a little more out of it, because that's the way I'm going to start it in a couple of minutes. I was taken a bit by this article in the latest MIT news, where it featured a gentleman who is in my year, though I didn't know him, Steve Gorat from New York, a boy from the Bronx, who apparently is the one who made quinoa something that people eat nowadays in the States and around the world, and not just in Bolivia. And he spends his time on the roof of his flat apartment in New York doing Tai Chi and meditation. So I hope I'm in good company. I'm at the right age to do it now if other MITers of my year are doing Tai Chi. I've been doing it for a little while. There are a few rules for Tai Chi. There are only two important ones for us today, assuming you are going to get up and do some moving around. One is don't overwork. So if you have to bend or stand or lean or carry or whatever, never go to an extreme. They say 74, 75, 76% of your maximum, no more than that. And the second rule is we protect our knees, because we do a lot of turning around. And if you turn around when you have weight on your leg, then you're going to twist the knee. So we're very careful about where our weight is, and we try to make sure that if we're going to turn, we turn an empty leg. So I'm going to start by doing a little bit of a Tai Chi form. That's a choreographed series of movements. Then we're going to do some exercises, some warming up exercises, some exercises in balance and flexibility, in movement and coordination, that sort of thing. So that by the time we get to the end at 6:30, we're going to do this bit of form again. And hopefully some of what you've done in the meantime, maybe something what I said, because I do tend to chatter a bit, will inform the difference that you experience in doing this at the end. So you won't, unless you've done Tai Chi before, this will be fairly meaningless to you, but you're going to get a little bit of exercise. When I say this will be meaningless, I mean this first bit of work. But this is what you do. Again, depending on the way your screens are set up, you might be finding that you're using your left when I'm using my right. But that's okay. So I'm going to start with standing with your feet beneath you, heels together, toes apart. So there you are, like so. And then you take all the weight onto one leg, turn slightly in that direction, take your arms slightly away from the body. When all the weight is on that leg, you pick up the other one and you put it down, and the toes pointing directly to the camera. Then you're continuing the turning and you're sitting back, so all the weight is on the back leg. It's as though you're sitting down. And then when all the weight is on the back leg, turn yourself towards the center, pivoting on the heel of the empty leg. Come back to the center. Your knees were slightly bent because you were sitting in the back leg. You just raise your arms. Keep your shoulders down. Breathe into the belly. Let the fingers droop. And then you fill the fingers up a little bit. Bring your elbows down and the wrists come towards your shoulders. Hands go down. And then you turn the shoulders, turning the waist, arms coming out. Turn the palms over, crossing, going through. So it's like a slow motion, throwing the arms out from the body. And at this point, take the weight onto leg here, bring one over. So the hands are over your shoulder, palms down. Pick up the empty leg. step, and now you're carrying your arms over as you turn. When you get to a certain point, it's uncomfortable, so you turn the toes in. Come back, one arm goes up, the other comes down. Rotate, now all the weight is on this leg, the other one's empty, so you can turn it into an awkward position. Step and turn, bring the weight over, and bring the arms with you. And now you're going to make an adjustment as you sit back. Make the palms face one another because we may have only a little room behind the desk. Turn, bringing the feet with, turn on the toe, step, one arm off the other down, keeping the back more or less upright. Turn the waist, raise the arms, sweep back, bend on the back leg. All the weight can be on the back leg here. Whoop. Bring the hands together as you go forward. Separate the hands, lower the elbows and the wrists a bit, and come forward. Then take the weight back, arms are horizontal, turn in. All the weight on one side, as if you're holding a ball. Bring the toe to heel, and then back it out. And we do the same thing in the other direction. Reach up, roll back as this is called. Bring the arms together, come forward in a press, come back, come forward in a push. And now as you turn, we'll take the weight across to the other leg, empty leg turns, arms go out, empty leg turns on toe, feet parallel, and bring the arms up. So that's a very minimalized version of the form. It's slight variant on what I call the pink lady. If you go on YouTube and you look for pink lady Tai Chi, you will find a lady in a pink silk outfit doing a very expressive form of Tai Chi, but roughly those moves. Now, what's all that about? Obviously, almost certainly, you weren't familiar with all the moves when you started, and it may have been that you were sitting and didn't want to do it anyway, or you went through it and you had some sense of where your balance was and how your limbs were associated with the rest of the body and how you turned. And maybe, probably a bit complicated. So we'll do this again at the end and see if it makes any difference. So this is our experiment today, and someone will write it up, I guess, maybe. What we might do at the beginning then, after that, is just a little warm-up. We're going to get things going on in the body because I imagine this is the beginning of the day for some people. So start by just tapping yourself on the top of the head. Now you want a very loose, soft wrist. You can see through, so it's not tight. And just tap yourself on the top of the head. And around. And don't forget the back. And down on the occiput. And then just grab yourself by the scruff of the neck and give yourself a bit of a massage. And then depending on how much you want to mess your makeup, you can get a little wipe of the face just to stimulate the skin, the nerves, and the neck. And if you had hair, you could do that kind of thing on the scalp as well. It doesn't make a lot of difference for me. Then, support one elbow with the other arm so that you don't have to worry about holding the arm up, and then tap yourself around the shoulder. And just go up and down and around, and then the other side again. So your arm is really loose, and the shoulder, the wrist is just bending and letting gravity pull it down. Then take the same soft fists around the chest And if you really feel like it, you can take a big breath and say, ah, when you finish. Right. Then, don't forget to give yourself a bit of a tapping around the top of the glutes and rub the kidney area. Very important. So I'm not going to talk any theory, any Chinese traditional medicine. We're just going to do the exercises. I'll have a little chat as we go through. But now we're going to pretend we know something about meridians, of which we have 3 major ones in the front of the arm, 3 at the back, and we're just going to tap down. So this is supposed to stimulate the nerves, stimulate the muscles, stimulate just about everything. And some would say it's stimulating the chi channels or the meridian. So we go up the inside or down the inside, whichever direction you call that, and along the 3 lines. And let's loosen up and separate your legs a little bit. And we're going to go, imagining there are 3 lines on the outside, 1, 2, 3 roughly, same on the inside. And don't fall over and don't strain yourself, so you can bend your knees, it's perfectly fine. Coming up and down. And then just give your ankles a bit of a rub. Come on. Now, of course, I had to think about, with a very short session, am I rushing through things and giving you an idea that it's all a rush job, or am I doing very little? We'll decide at the end which I've achieved. Yes, okay. So let's just loosen up the top of the body. And there's a reason for that, which I'll tell as we go. So the first start, just bring the palms to face the shoulders. And it's mostly inertia up and gravity down. And then for the next one, let the upper arms go horizontal and imagine they come to a hard stop. So inertia is pulling the lower arm around and you're flapping. And then if you feel soft enough, go up higher. And then again, when the upper arms stop, the lower arms are just pulled down by gravity because nothing holds them up anymore. So there's a certain amount of imagining, but what we're trying to do is to realize that we can let go of just about anything. And in the end, have no more tension in the body or any part of the body than we absolutely need in order to achieve the end that we're trying to achieve. So do one more exercise, which is an old pianist's training exercise for making us aware that even though when we move, our brain has worked it out that we move all the various bits together in order to achieve what we want. We don't always use it most efficiently. Some people have to be retrained after accidents and so forth, but that we can be aware of the various bits, and then we can make them work together, and then they'll work together when we're not thinking about it. So what we do here is raise a hand and just let the wrist drop, let the elbow drop, let the shoulder drop. Wrist, elbow, shoulder. Wrist, elbow, shoulder. Now, I'm sure at various sports, elite or otherwise, people are trained and people study in order to be able to train people to be aware of appropriate coordination of all the various bits so that you get the most efficiency. And these exercises are just to make us aware, because at our stage, we're not treating Tai Chi is a martial art. We're not trying to achieve any particular physical goal. We just want to be able to keep an increased awareness of our body and to be able to use that awareness to good effect. You don't always have to be aware of everything that's happening. Otherwise, you couldn't survive. Okay. Just twiddle your fingers. Twiddle your fingers and your wrists. Twiddle your fingers and your wrists and your elbows. Bring the shoulders into it. Bounce up and down on your heels. And now, if you're holding in your abdomen, or you're holding in your chest, you're holding in your thighs, just try to let all that go so you are total wibble wobble. And then stop the jumping up and down, stop the shoulders, stop the elbows, stop the wrists, and then stop the fingers. And now stand, breathe, and observe how you feel. At this point, I'd like you to stand with your feet parallel and shoulder. Keep your arms at your sides, but not scrunched up. And just let yourself fall slightly forward, or fall slightly back, or fall slightly to the side. Feel the floor under your feet. Find a position where you have equal weight on the ball of the feet and the heel. And note you're not off to one side or the other side. Soften your knees. As you breathe out, relax your shoulders. Soften the knees to the point where if they were any softer, you'd collapse down. So you can allow yourself to come down half an inch, centimeter, and then just slowly stop yourself from collapsing. Now imagine that you're a marionette. So the puppeteer has a string out through the middle of your head, on the wrists, knees, elbows, and heels. And it's just gently letting you down, so your feet on the ground, cause your knees to bend slightly. And yet you're being suspended, so the sense is that your spine is staying long. You're drooping down to the ground away from the top of the head. And now breathe through your nose, in and out. And as you breathe, you're using abdominal breathing to start with. So as you breathe in, the belly, I can do this very well with my COVID belly. As you breathe out, the belly goes in a bit. So breathing in just allows the diaphragm to flatten. The air then should come and fill the vacuum. You shouldn't have to do any work inhaling. Exhaling, you're pushing a little bit, and the air goes out. So you want to feel that you are being breathed rather than you are breathing. That kind of, something like that. I just made that up. But if you can, focus on softening around here. Don't worry about the shape today, no one else can see you. Just let it go out. And as you exhale, tighten up a bit. There's nothing to stop you if you want to first let the vacuum fill, then you can start opening a bit in the ribs here, yoga-like, Pilates-like, right? Slightly different breathing, but avoid anything that will raise the shoulders. So as we go through, keep in mind the breathing. Don't forget to breathe, but keep in mind the breathing. Okay. This standing, sometimes called wearing the moon like a cap. So you're aware of the top of the head, up there, supporting you. And the rest of the body has no more tension than it needs to do its job, which at the moment is just standing. So it's a relaxation, but with energy. No more than you absolutely need. Now, if you can, walk in place. So we're going to get through a lot less than I anticipate, but that's what it always happens. Okay, just walk in place now. And I'd like you to walk slower and slower. You can feel now the body seems to sway, and now go very slowly so that all the weight is on one leg, softly before you pick the other up. So when you're running, you had a lot of action in the muscles of the legs, and it looked like you were just going straight. There's no swaying looking. Now you go slowly, and you're swaying from side to side. And now let's see how slowly you can take all the weight onto one leg while keeping the pelvis horizontal if possible and the torso vertical if possible. So you're not doing that and you're not doing that. And then eventually you can pick up the empty leg. Sometimes we think of this as pouring. You're pouring, say, sand into this leg, emptying this leg, and it becomes like a windsock on a little airport. And it just blow in the wind. It's empty, full and empty. Distinguishing between full and empty is kind of words in the translations of Tai Chi principles. So as you do Tai Chi Form, keep aware of the fullness and the emptiness. And because you're doing it slowly, you have every opportunity to be really, really aware of what's going on. Whereas if you go fast, you get more tension and you don't have to bother about the awareness. Okay, we have almost no time left, so we're going to do one more thing. If you stand with your feet parallel and shoulder width, we're then going to take all the weight onto one leg as we just did, turn the other toes to 45 degrees. Take the weight on those legs, on that leg, and face more or less in that direction. And then notice the direction of the empty leg. It's going to go straight out towards the camera. So it keeps this width between the heels. Now, shift the weight, turn the waist, keep open here so the knees are always bending over the toes. Remember, knees not bending. Protect the knees and out in that direction. Back, turn, and forward. So I did it from the side. We have essentially the movement that I learned those years ago when I played tennis. You'd step back, you'd wind up, you'd bring the racket through with the body pushing with the back leg, and then, of course, you'd follow through. The Tai Chi, as a force deploying art, or martial art, says that the force originates at the leg against the ground, surprise, surprise, is directed by the hips, and then there's a question between the waist and the hips, and you can read that up in golf or tennis or any other sport. And expressed through the hands, where you have delicacy. And the art of Tai Chi as a martial art, we can finish up that, is for seducing the person that you're working with into thinking that everything's fine, and then you can do something. The hands are the seducers, except when you punch. But so force against the ground, directed by the hips, the waist, and expressed through the hands. So we have 3 minutes left. So I'm going to take those 3 minutes, if I may. And we're going to see what happens now if we do the pink lady again, informed by anything that we've done before, which is about all you can do in this time. Anybody interested in any more? There's plenty of information. You can always get in touch with me. So, heels together, toes apart. Weight onto one side, turn. Hands a little away from the body. Empty foot, put it down, facing the camera, continue turning, and then just sit back on that leg. Right? Empty the other one so that you can turn without doing any damage to the knee. You're turning on the heel, so you're not damaging the carpet either. Coming up in height, raising arms. Letting the arms come in, and then turning, arms go out. Coming to the center, the arms meet one over the other. Turning, the arms go out. Here your weight is equally balanced, but feel any twisting that's happening on the heels. Try to maintain all the pressures. Step, shift the weight, turn the waist, carry the hands, and just open a little here. Change, turn, step, shift the weight, turn the waist, hips, keep the groin open so that the knees are over the toes. And we're going to adjust because of the depth of the room. Turn on the heel, carry the arms. Now it's as if you're holding a ball. Step, ward off. Roll back, press, and push. Turn, hold the ball. Step, ward off, turn, reach, roll back. Feel your weight, feel the turn, feel the joints, feel the continuity of movement, and breathe. Thank you. That's me time.
Thank you, Henry. That was wonderful. I was doing the movements right along with you. It's very nice.
Oh, good. I'm pleased.
Thank you.
Well, I'll stay here for Wissam's talk.
Okay. Hi, next we have Wissam Monterey, and he's also from Club of Great Britain.
Hi, Patricia. Can you hear me okay?
Actually, let me stop this.